Greetings, guys, girls, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Today I have been procrastinating filming by sitting in my room listening to BTOB's new song Wind and Wish on repeat 50 times. And finally, I'm ready to go. While I was racking my brain trying to think of a video to do, I realized that I have never made a video about just pearly things on this channel. I have made a video with Anna Marie over on her channel, but I've never done a video here, and I wanted to do that. Well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to sit and watch her content. That's not actually something I want to do, but it's something that I did do. So today we are going to be watching some of her TikToks because it's a nightmare. If you don't know who Just Pearly Things is, basically she is a woman who has decided to make a name for herself within the manosphere. Basically, she has a Fresh and Fit podcast, but she is a woman, and it's wild. But before we do get into it, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to today's patron of the day, Danielle. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for all of your support. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat. Starts at as little as £1 a month, and it means a lot. Anything helps. So yeah, if you want to hear more about that, then stick around until the end. And now let's get into some fun TikToks.
If I was super in love and I had children with a man and I was really, really in love with him and he was a good man overall, I think I would be lying if I'd say I couldn't get over it. Now, does that mean I'd condone it? No. Does that mean I would be happy? Oh, sir, I would not be. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But I think that men give us a lot of grace for a lot of things. I mean, we're certainly not perfect, and we're certainly more modern than we've ever been. So I think that maybe we should try to give men grace. I think that's part of relationships. That's part of life.
So, would she forgive a man for cheating on her if she's super in love? Yes, she thinks she could overlook it despite being upset. Now, she seems to think that this is like an unpopular opinion. Like, this isn't an unpopular take. A lot of people are forgiven for having affairs, especially if they've been in a relationship for a long time, especially if they have children. It is very, very common for that to take place. However, it does change the relationship dynamic. There's a lot less trust. And even if the affair, the cheating, isn't what ended the relationship, a lot of the time it starts the snowball that eventually does. Because without trust, there is no foundation of a relationship, and sometimes it is more healthy and better to just end it where it happens. If you want to go and hook up with other people, you can, as long as you have that conversation with your partner and then they say, I understand, and that is okay. You have to have trust, you have to have communication. You know, it is not unheard of to have relationships where one of the people in the relationship just goes and has casual affairs with other people. If there is consent, then it's fine, because it's not lying. The problem with cheating is that it's cheating, it's lying, it's dishonesty, it's betrayal. So, like, they don't really deserve to be forgiven. There are instances where, like, I'm not going to judge you if you forgive a partner for cheating. Some people think it's, like, a different level of a big deal than others. Like, obviously, it's not as much of a big deal to you as it is to others. Like, it's to each their own. Each person has a different way of dealing with it and a different response to it. And most responses are valid, you know? Like, the solution isn't to go cheat on them back or hurt them in return. The solution is to work through it or end the relationship. You know, it doesn't matter which one you choose, as long as you are happy and comfortable with that decision. I also want to, like, just zoom in on the phrase, we are certainly more modern than we've ever been, because, like, yeah, that is what modern means. You can't be more modern than the current time allows for. Modern just means with the time. Like, in the 60s, they were the most modern they'd ever been, because you can't be as modern as you are in one time period as before, because this is a new time. Yeah, we are more modern than ever because we are further in time. Do you know what modern means?
Do you guys think it's appropriate to go out in a relationship?
Yeah.
Why not? Is that a bad thing now? I think now.
Conduct yourself when you're out.
Well, what are you going out for?
What?
You got a man.
I can't let my hair down for 5 minutes with my girls.
It's like, why are you fishing if you don't want to fish?
But who said I was fishing? I was having a good time.
Oh, so what'd you go out for? Yourself?
To have a good time.
Yeah. Is that, no, seriously, is that a thing now?
I mean, that's just, I'm just telling you guys how men view it. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I listen to guys talk all the time. Like, if you're going out all the time, it's like,
but not all the time.
You can say like, I'm not a hoe, right? But if all your friends are hoes, you're going out to the club all the time. It's like you're dressing like a hoe, acting like a hoe. It's like, how are they supposed to think you're not a hoe?
The girl sitting there just being like, I go out because it's fun. I go out because I want to spend time with my friends. What the fuck do you mean I'm not allowed to do that anymore? I'm not looking for a man. I'm not looking to hook up with anyone. I'm just having a good time with my friends. And she's just like, why would you go out if you don't want to sleep with someone? Like, maybe your priorities are wrong, pal. Maybe you need friends that you enjoy the company of. Maybe you should let yourself have fun more often. Because, like, bro, what? If my partner is upset about me going out because they're afraid I'm gonna like cheat on them, that sounds like a them problem. That is their own insecurity and they should have more trust in me. If they don't trust me to not sleep with someone while I am out, that is on them. That is a problem within our relationship because what have I done to make them not trust me? Is that an insecurity that they have or have I done something? You know? And that's a conversation you need to have. It should never be a problem to go out and have fun. You can wear what you want. You can do what you want. If you aren't actively seeking out like a romantic or sexual interaction with someone, then there's literally no problem with it at all. And like all these men will be like, it's not about like what she wants to do. It's not about like if she approaches a guy or whatever. It's I don't trust guys. Guys will approach her. Guys will hit on her. I'm like, and what? As long as it's not reciprocated, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't own her. She's not your property. Guys might talk to her and she'll shut them down. Why is that a problem? And a lot of them, again, are like, well, I don't trust them. What if they, like, touch her or hook up with her? Blah, blah, blah. What if she's drunk? And it's like, well, then that's on them. That is not her fault. And it sounds to me as though if your girlfriend gets, like, assaulted or harassed, you're going to be mad at her instead of helping her through her trauma. You know, that's like a traumatizing thing to happen and it wouldn't be her fault. And making it her fault, that is on you. And you're a bad partner and a bad person and you shouldn't be in a relationship. I'm sorry, but if your girlfriend going out makes you uncomfortable and angry, don't be in a relationship. If you're allowed to go out and you're allowed to have fun, why can't she? And if it's because you don't trust other men, that's a reflection on you too, because why don't you trust other men? Are you aware so you know that it is all men, right? You're aware of that? All these dudes sit down in this room and it's like, we're always being told that we harass women. It's so hard being a man because like, I'm a good guy. It's not all men. But then I hear like, my girlfriend can't go out because men fucking suck and try to hit on her. Like, so it is all men then. So it is all men. You get it. You understand. Great.
If we keep suing our bosses for damn near everything, oh, he harassed me this, he harassed me that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying there aren't cases of real harassment, but most of y'all will sue your bosses for damn near everything. Do you know what I would do if I was a boss and I kept getting sued for quote unquote harassment? I would just stop hiring women. It's too much of a risk and I can't really blame them. So honestly, guys, ladies, if we're gonna be in the workforce, fine, do it. But don't complain about not getting hired for jobs if we're gonna sue them for everything.
People aren't suing bosses for anything. Women suing their male bosses is not a frequent occurrence. It doesn't happen all the time. The chance of you being sued is extremely low unless you have done something to warrant it. Unless you have actively harassed someone. And even then, lawsuits when it comes to like harassment and abuse of power in the workplace, almost always you will lose as a woman. Men will very, very often, like most of the time, end up leaving like cases of abuse and harassment as winners in the case. There is hardly ever any punishment. There's hardly ever any repercussions. And like, don't pretend that there is. And also, this is you once again implying and acknowledging that all bosses are men. All people in positions of power are men. And they're going to abuse their power and take advantage of women and then use that as a reason to be misogynistic even further. Like, maybe more women should be bosses. If men can't stop harassing women and people that they are above, they shouldn't be in positions of power. More women should be in charge. That's what I'm gathering from this. And like saying and implying that men face consequences for harassing people in the workplace is like so ridiculous. I know firsthand people who have been harassed in the workplace, as in like being touched inappropriately and having sexual comments made towards them by a man. And the response was to give that man a promotion so that they wouldn't have to work together anymore. That was how they dealt with the problem. Being like, well, you don't want this man harassing you? Okay, fine, I'll fix it. I'll give him a promotion so you're not working on the same floor anymore. That is literally a real story from people that I know that happened. So don't fucking sit there and be like, of course men don't hire women. They're accused of harassing people because they do harass people. And there's no consequences. A lawsuit costs a lot of money. No one is suing anyone over nothing, especially when the chance of them losing is so high. You know, like it's not happening.
Women need to raise the family, right? But you also need men. So because we've seen what happens when fathers aren't in the home. So men and women are equally, I think, needed in the family. But when it comes to running a society, most of the jobs that run the infrastructure of society, so like the policemen, the power lines, like all the things, women's jobs could go away tomorrow, society would still run. Because, you know, what women are construction workers. If women are in construction, they're like in management or some bullshit job that we don't really need. Let's just be honest. Like, where men are the ones doing the hard jobs, the street sweepers, the sewage, like all the stuff that like if went out tomorrow, society would not run.
All jobs are important to society. There are so many things wrong with this. Firstly, women are in those jobs you just mentioned. Sure, there might be less of them in those fields, but there are still enough there for it to make an impact if they left. And you want to talk about fields with gender disparities? Teachers are largely women, and we really fucking need teachers. If women left the workforce and we're left with no fucking teachers, we're fucked. Nurses are mostly women. We really fucking need nurses. And that scene in Iceland from like 40 years ago or something, where one day, all of the women were like, you know what? I've had enough of society treating us differently. We're all going to stop working. That included in the workforce and in the home. For a day, women did nothing. And everything fucking fell apart. Society couldn't function that day anymore. And women were seen as more valuable after that. Because everyone was like, oh shit, we actually can't exist without women. Oh my god. Because obviously you can't exist without women, and implying that even women being at home and looking after the home and looking after the kids is not important is also ridiculous. Like, men are the backbone of society. We could live without women. Okay, no, you can't. Firstly, you kind of need women in order to carry on the human race. And also, can we take a moment to acknowledge you just said women have unimportant jobs like management? You think that the management of a construction site is unimportant? What are they gonna fucking build? What are they constructing? Who is doing what? When are they working? You think that jobs can happen without a manager? Bro, what is wrong with you? That's the like most ridiculous out-of-pocket sentence I've ever heard. Like, did you think your words before you said them? Women are in like really unimportant jobs, like management. What is wrong with you?
But I honestly think like women have subtle misandry that we just don't see every day. And I'm not even going to say I've never said anything like that. You know, like we hear like men are trash, men are the problem. But if a guy goes on social media and says women are whores, they're looked down upon. Even if that's more true when you think about it, because women 100 years ago, only 15% admitted to having premarital sex. Yeah, to now where what percent of women are virgins on their wedding night. So if you look at the difference in women, like women are, that's kind of just a fact in general, right? But men are shamed for saying that. But women can say men are trash, men are the problem, men are this, men are that.
You can hear the difference though, right? Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this before, but what is with the oversaturation of these videos? Like, why did you do this? Why did you make your videos look like this? I don't understand this like trend of oversaturating videos. They look so bad. It looks so bad. Why did you do it? Half of her videos are like this and then half of them are normal. And like, just stop oversaturating your videos. This goes for literally everyone. Anyway, that's like a different thing aside. Surely you can hear the difference here. One is usually used when men have done something that is like oppressive. Men have done something that is harmful. You know, it's kind of like a man will abuse his power. A man will do something misogynistic, and you're like, fucking men are trash. Fuck men. I hate men, because we are in a position where we are taken advantage of. We are oppressed, and we say about our oppressors, fuck them, you know? Whereas men saying women are whores, that is very targeted. That is very specific, and that is usually said in response to them not getting what they want. One is said because we are being hurt. One is said because we aren't letting them hurt us. If a man were to say women are trash, it's much less harmful than saying women are whores. You see how it is different? Like, it's still not great to say that because it's coming from a position of they're punching down, right? They are the oppressors and they're punching down. However, I would say that it is better to say women ain't shit or women are trash than women are whores. There is a difference because, like, whores as well historically, that effectively is just really objectifying. It's like bordering on a slur. And because what that was is like a prostitute, right? It's like an ownership sort of situation, and it has really terrible connotations and implications. It's the same as when a man calls a woman a bitch. It's like, you don't fucking do that. I'm gonna put a trigger warning here for abuse and consent, so please skip to this timestamp if you want to miss that. And please be wary that this section might not have captions depending on how triggering it is to captioner.
I even think in a relationship, honestly, if he's not sleeping with anyone else, yeah, you should give him sex whenever he wants.
Whenever he wants.
Yeah, because like,
otherwise, why should he go get?
Because guys want to fuck all the time. So if I'm saying like, please don't fuck other girls, just fuck me, like then I should give it to him.
Okay, wait, I understand that, but then if there's just a one day where it's like, I'm not on it right now, or I'm on my, or whatever, you're not.
Obviously, it's contextual.
Does that mean that he now has a right to go and have sex with someone else?
Obviously, it's not one day. Come, let's be real about it. Like,
that's what I'm saying. But you guys are making it sound like
I'll give you one day, not two. I'll give you one day, not two. If you miss work one day, they might give you a pass. If 2 days in a row, you might be getting a pink slip.
This makes me so mad and so upset, and triggering for me to listen to as well. This whole idea of like, you have to give your body to some man just because you're in a relationship. You did not consent to that when you got in a relationship. No one has ownership of your body. No one is able to dictate what you do with your body and when. Sex is a very intimate thing. It's a very vulnerable thing. And sometimes you just are not up for that. Sometimes you don't want to be touched. Sometimes you just don't want to do that. You don't want to feel vulnerable. You don't want to feel exposed. You don't want someone in your space. When you don't want to have sex and you do, it's not enjoyable for you. It's just not a good time. There is reason why you might not want to have sex in that moment. And men don't always want to have sex either. And so this goes both ways, where like, you don't owe anyone anything regardless of your gender. You never ever have to have sex or do anything of any nature if you do not want to. No one is entitled to that. Ever. And that is not an excuse for them to go and sleep with someone else either. They can fucking suck it up and deal with it. Because if they want to have sex when you don't want to, that is about possession and ownership and just like, you are a body and not a person. And that's what it means, right? If you don't give them sex and so they get mad, that is them not seeing you as a person. That is them seeing you as an object. And that is not someone that you want to be in a relationship with. That is not someone you should be in a relationship with. I was in a relationship like that for a really long time and it fucked me up. It's left me with horrific PTSD. It's left me with so many trust issues. It's left me with a terrible relationship with myself, with my sexuality, with my body. It fucks you up. It like hollows you out. And just like takes you to a place where you don't feel like you have any ownership of your body. I struggle so much with boundaries. I struggle so much with understanding consent and with communicating, because I wasn't allowed to do that for such a long time. My body it wasn't my own anymore. I didn't have any control over it. I didn't have any say in that. I was made to do things that I didn't want to, when I didn't want to, in places where I didn't want to. I don't give a fuck what the situation is. I don't care. It doesn't fucking matter. You never owe anyone that, and no one ever owes you that. This can come from anyone of any gender. It can be a heterosexual relationship. It can be a gay relationship. It can be whatever. This happens in all relationships. It has happened to me in a relationship with a woman as well. It fucks you up, and it leaves you feeling empty. And there is no reason that you would have to do that. And if you are in a relationship with someone who's making you do that and telling you that you owe it to them and guilt tripping you and coercing you and getting mad at you for saying no, I know that it is really, really, really hard. But I really hope that you are able to find the strength and the support network to get you out of that relationship, because you should not be in it. I just felt like that needed to be said, because there's too much of this. And that man being like, yeah, no, you owe it to us. I want to rip his head off. Everyone, both Pearl and that dude in this video, I want to actually rip their heads off. Like, that's a disgusting, awful, terrible thing to say. And just, yeah. I'm gonna move on because that was probably too much for me, honestly. And I don't have therapy for another week, so I'm gonna carry on.
And you can see it in the media all the time. Like, every poor decision a woman makes, like, you see it in the media. Like, for example, like, women gain weight, right? What body positivity, that's the next thing that comes out.
Well, we just talked about that with Jordan Peterson, Rolo, how the one big girl was on the cover of SI.
Yeah, and I've been overweight, and that you can lose it, so why are we tripping? Why are we tripping? And they do the same thing with age now, too. You see them pushing, like, what is it, ageism? That's the new word for it?
Oh, yes, because the older women are upset that...
Because they're lonely.
Yeah, they're mad that they're not getting the same sexual offers that they were getting in their youth. Shocking, yeah.
Oh my god, this fucking... Oh, she makes me so mad. I've been overweight. You can just lose it. Yeah, same. I've also been overweight, and I also lost it. And now I've had an eating disorder for the past 9 years. Yeah, like, I've been recovered technically for 6 years, but it is something that I struggle with on and off constantly. It is something that I have fallen back into. It is a coping mechanism that I have. It is so horrific, and I fight that little voice in my head every single day. Some days it is louder than others. And it fucking sucks. And I really, really would like to not give a fuck. I would really, really like to not care. I would like to have not had to spend 2 years in therapy trying to learn how to eat again. You know? Good for you that you didn't develop an eating disorder, but fat phobia harms so many people. Do you know how many people die from eating disorders? So many. So many people die from eating disorders. And it's not just that the malnutrition kills them, which does happen, but the suicide rate of people with eating disorders is higher than anything else. It is so high because living with an eating disorder is so awful. We shouldn't be encouraging weight loss and telling people that they need to change. We shouldn't be saying, if you're overweight, just lose it, because that is so harmful and dangerous. You don't have to do that, you know? And regardless, fat people fucking exist. You know, they need clothes. They need things just as much as everyone else. Fat people exist. Just showing that they exist doesn't do anything. I'm sorry you don't like looking at fat people, but then don't go outside. Don't turn on your TV. Don't buy any media, because fat people exist. Get over it. You see women who look like you all the time. Why can't they see people that look like them? You know? And then it comes to ageism. Like, what do you have against seeing older people? They exist too. Showing them on magazines and in the media isn't harming you. It is just showing and acknowledging that they exist, because they do. Everyone is an equal part of society and they all deserve to be shown because they all exist. And even just from a marketing perspective, having a variety of people just seems like a better move because, like, personally, I don't want to buy something that I don't know is going to look like on my body type. You know what I mean? Like, if you've never seen an article of clothing on someone who looks like you, why would you buy it? You don't know what it's going to look like on you. You see it on this person, you're like, oh, that looks really cute. And then you're like, yeah, but what does it look like on me? Probably not like that. So I don't know if I want to buy it. All of the brands that show their products on like a variety of different bodies, that's so helpful. And it helps people with confidence and it helps people know what they're buying and it helps them figure out their size. Like whenever I'm looking at a product and I see it on a model, I always go to the description to see like how tall they are and what size they are so I can sort of like compare and gauge what size I should buy as well and what it's going to look like on me. And it helps people feel included, which therefore makes them more likely to buy the product. So it's just like a better thing to do overall. Like even from a capitalistic point of view, it's a better thing to do. So like just get over it. Just get over it. Oh my God. Why does it matter?
I am a big believer that a man should never cry or show emotion from a woman. What? And the reason is because if you were to translate the words, he's screaming, I can't take care of the situation. You can't trust me. And so the woman's like, man, I better get masculine real quick. It's like what you're talking about with a man dies. Yeah. The women are scared that a man cannot, because men are weak. Men are fucking weak. And if men were stronger, women could trust them more and let go. And whether you like it or not, fall into that feminine frame, because I think that's what they're naturally propense to do.
This man is terrifying. Like, he actually scares me. He is an abuser. I don't know anything about him. This is the first thing I've ever seen of him, and I know that he abuses his partners because, my God, being just like, I need to have no emotions so that my girlfriend will allow herself to be small and rely on me and trust me no matter what, and I will have no emotions other than manly emotions like anger and power. No, stay away. Stay the fuck away. That's so scary. That's so scary. I hate the way that he talked about this. If a man wants to have a partner who exists to be small and entirely rely on him, red flag, screaming sirens, get the fuck out. It is so important for you to allow yourself to feel the emotions that you have and to understand that anger is an emotion as well. You cannot just transfer all of your emotions into anger and into power because that is not helpful. And not allowing yourself to feel emotions and express emotions is a really big factor in what leads to abuse. Because like he's sort of implying, right? If you are being told that in order to be a man, you have to have like power and strength, and you aren't able to find that anywhere else in your life, what you are going to do is you are going to find someone who is smaller than you and make them rely on you so you can have power over them. A lot of men become abusers because they feel like they have to be masculine and they're not allowed to have emotions. And it starts that cycle. And they like to keep women small. They like to have women with a small frame because then they can't fight back. It is harder for a small woman whom they have broken down to nothing to fight back and to get help and to leave. So they'll do whatever they have in their power to keep women like that. This man is scary. He's so scary. This made me so upset and uncomfortable to watch. There's a difference between strength and weakness and dominance and submission. And I think that you really don't understand that, you know? Having emotions doesn't make you strong, nor does it make you weak. It makes you human. Not allowing yourself to feel emotion and having someone rely on you and be submissive to you isn't you being strong, and it's not her being weak. It's you being dominant and her being submissive, but you're doing it in a non-consensual way where you are just taking advantage of a submissive person, and that is not okay. Anyway, this video started off fun and it ended in me being really mad and angry because I triggered myself in the middle. So that happens way too often. I should stop doing that. Anyway, I'm gonna go ram my head into a wall. Thank you so much for watching. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I love and appreciate you so much. And a massive thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Toulouse, Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Robbie, Ikazel, Kai, Jessica, Eldo, Ida, Quia Corey, Raven, Danielle, Elias, Evie, Nyx of the Eternal Night, JD Creeper, Rin, and Julie. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the top link in the description. For £1 a month, you get my videos a day early and podcasts a week early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, and more. I appreciate it greatly. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.